We're dealing with technical difficulties. Can hear us? We will try to keep going here.
All right, so we're going to return to our roll call of board members now that we have quorum again. Ravonda Smith.
Here.
Claire Cousin.
Here.
Rebecca Wolf. Not here. Rebecca Borer here. Anthony Bennett.
Here.
All right, and that's quorum. So our first order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from March 21st. We currently do not have them in front of us, but I did get to look them over. Did everyone look them over, or do we want to wait until next month?
I saw him,
Anthony, you good?
but is he able to Shaheem have them?
I'm good.
There we go. They're up. So
I think
we've
that's
all
a- I
looked
think
them over.
that's an
So
approval.
can we get a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, a motion from Ravonda Smith from March 21st, 2022, and Claire Cousins seconds. And the meeting minutes are approved. Okay, and now approving the accounts payable for April 2022.
No, for March.
March.
Oh, okay, it's.
Here's your
okay.
agenda.
Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, for March 2022. Also not in front of us.
You have them.
February.
Anthony, do you have those accounts payable
Oh,
as well?
maybe Shaw has them. Shaw, do those say February at the top or March?
Didn't we say that we?
This is the March budgeted reports.
We can't put them up though.
Yeah, we
right?
should,
That's what he said, because it has people name. Or can we?
Thought we could.
we
Let's
always
see.
had put them up in
Yeah.
the past, but then there was
It's
some
okay.
question of whether or not we could put them up.
I think it's okay to have them up.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the accounts payable?
Make that motion.
Okay, Claire Cousin made the motion.
I'll second that.
Ravonda Smith seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, accounts payable for March 2022 are approved, and now for our report from the interim director.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you all for bearing with us as we make the transition to this OWL, which seems to be working pretty well, but it's caused some other little technology hiccups. So if anybody in the audience has any issues, let us know. We're just trying this out for the first time. But the updates for this month are short and sweet. As a result of community input from the last meeting, we did immediately discuss with the staff the hours which the community room will be open. And I'm happy to announce that now during all business hours of the main office, the community room is open. And we are working on getting that open for the evenings too, when our security guard is on duty, which brings us to our very exciting second update, which is that as of last week, we have a security guard at the Hudson Housing Authority.
Amazing.
Damian Owens, who many people know and love here in the building, moved up into that position. He's taking it very seriously. We have had incredible feedback so far. I think just having somebody here every night has been something that folks haven't experienced for possibly over a decade. And folks seem to trust and enjoy having Damian here. And so we've gotten really great feedback. And Damian has been providing reports. We've had numerous potential trespassers kept out, numerous tenants helped on different issues. And so I'm just very excited. That took a while to get the whole thing going and get it together. But it seems like it's happening. Damian is also in the process of completing his state security guard certification. So he'll have that. And it's just an exciting update all around. And then we have our asbestos monitoring firm, Ambient Environmental, has completed their formal inspections of the units, which we know potentially have asbestos. They provided a report to us. This report basically details that 8 of the 12 units in question have potential exposure that is of such that it qualifies for potential containment as opposed to full abatement. 5 of the units are full abatement, gut and completely empty out. So with that report, we are now in a position to decide where we want to go next. That report's going to be given to the board. And then once we decide how we want to proceed in terms of getting cost estimates, Ambient Environmental will then move forward with applying to the Department of Labor with a variance for a variance. And once that comes back to us, then we will be able to put out bids for contractors to come and do that work under the supervision and monitoring of Ambient. So it's a ongoing process, but it's happening and it's moving forward. And that is somewhat better news than it could have been otherwise, that majority of the units are eligible for containment as opposed to full abatement. So those are the big updates that I have. We have a couple other pieces of new business. So I will turn it over to Ravonda for new business to just give a small update on the executive director candidate recruitment.
Yes, as you know, I've been working hand in hand with Simone. I did share a slide with Shaheem to share. And this is a nice portfolio that Simone and I put together to solicit executive directors. It's pretty long, but and I'll also send it around to everybody. She did contact me on Friday to hold off on sending a list of candidates. And the reason for that is she said that they had more people and she'd rather just have a full list and giving us little pieces at a time. She also did say that she's sending a list to the whole board. And she'll also be setting up interviews with the whole board. So we'll all be able to find out at the same time. She did say she would get to us early this week. We are at the end of that road for Nick coming up, but as we know, we've been here before and we'll do those interviews and we'll just have a special meeting on who we like. And hopefully Nick's last day, it's up to Gans and Gan, will be April 29th. So yeah, that's my little update on that. And you know, she just said that she wanted us to have the best of the best because after all the research and history she looked up on Hudson, she actually fell in love with Hudson herself. And she was like, I would take this job just because of the city. So it's a beautiful thing.
That's great, Ravonda. Thank you. And we will eagerly look forward to that news. And then we're going to turn it over to our attorney, Brian Lawler, if he is still on, who has been researching both our bylaws, past and present, and New York State laws in regards to election for tenant commissioners. So he's going to give us a little update and maybe outline some options of how we can move forward with that issue. Brian?
Thanks, Nick. Good evening, everybody. Did you get a chance to circulate the draft policy that I provided? Good.
I apologize, Brian. I did not get to in this little craziness trying to get this meeting set up. So I apologize. I will circulate that to the board, though. Okay.
So I can give a quick overview of it and lay out the options for everybody as to how they want to proceed. I did some. I mean, we wanted to revisit the election policy and processes of the board. There was seems like the terms have gotten concurrent rather than staggered. We want to look at options in terms of one, Do we have to do another election? 2, when will we do an election? And 3, and this is really what this conversation is about tonight, is how do we do a new election? So my conversations with Ravonda and Nick revolved around, we wanted to make sure that we had an election that one attracted good candidates to serve as a tenant commissioner, and also generated participation by the residents also. Increased voting, increase the candidates, bring out better candidates, or the best candidates that we can get, and have a really robust election process. So there's really not, you can't get overly creative with elections because it's one person, one vote, and everybody has to have their vote. But we did take a look at the what other housing authorities have done. We looked at it really in a couple of different ways. One is it's pretty clear who can vote. And under New York law, people who live in the housing authority who are 18 years old or over and listed on the apartment, are eligible to vote. So we want to encourage everybody to vote. So 90 days before we hold an election, the authority will announce and post a roll of eligible voters so that everybody knows who's who's eligible to vote. There's a time period that if you feel your name should be on there and it's not, you can challenge it and make sure that your name is on. There's somebody that shouldn't be on it, we can challenge that also. So one is establishing who's eligible to vote. The same people that are eligible to vote are also the people who are eligible to run. So we also wanted to encourage people to get involved. And looking at state law, we realized that there's an opportunity to provide a stipend to tenant commissioners. State law requires each housing authority to have 2 tenant commissioners. Each should have a 2-year term. It's recommended but not required that those terms be staggered, meaning they don't end and start and end at the same time, they overlap. And authorize authorities to pay tenant commissioners a stipend for their expenses and time, $2,000 per year on a monthly basis, which comes out to about $165 a month. That counts as income, but doesn't account towards eligibility to be in an apartment. So that's something that we can do whenever. We don't have to wait for an election to do that. We can authorize that at any point in time. But we also want candidates to continue with nominating petitions and get signatures. I forget what the prior requirement was. I think it was 25. Taking a look at the number of tenants and residents, we thought 20 in a nominating petition would be about right. And we wanted to make it somewhat easier. Anthony had mentioned like that, and I can appreciate that. It's not really easy to go knocking on doors and get signatures. We talked about making community space room available certain days of the week for candidates who wanted to be there and bring people in to sign their nominating petitions. People can sign nominating petitions. They can only sign 1 per election, per commissioner. So you can't go in and have the same people sign, 20 people sign everybody's petition. We thought also it'd be a good idea to have a candidate forum, maybe a night before a board meeting and before the election, to have the candidates come and have people meet them and have the candidate make a statement as to why they want to run for office, and have the answer questions from the tenants as to what they might do. So we thought that might be something that would encourage candidates to run for office. We need them. We need tenant commissioners. They bring a lot of value to the organization. And the second part is, how do we make sure that people vote? And we've been through this on national elections. We've been through this local elections, but it shouldn't be a difficult task to vote. I mean, our current process is in order to vote on election day, to go down to the office, bring your ballot, bring it into the box and leave it there. There's really no reason to limit it to that. There's a certain date and time where the election occurs, meaning your ballot has to be received before then. So we're proposing that ballots be actually distributed prior to the election to each apartment, filled out with who the eligible voters are in each apartment, and to give them the opportunity to return those ballots one of three ways. They can drop them off in a box in the office any day up until the election day. They can email them, scan them and email to the office, or they can mail them to the office. But it's one ballot, one person. It has to be the official ballot that we'll hand out as a means of control. So the idea is, one, to make sure that people have the opportunity to vote, that the right people vote, and that we get the best candidates to run and treat them with the respect that they deserve for doing that. So that's it's really, I didn't want to make it overly complicated. We can talk about when we want to do another election to adjust the terms so they're staggered, or we can leave them the way they are, or we can do something within 90 days or at the end of the year. But I definitely wanted to lay out the options for the board and provide them an opportunity to make their own decisions. So if anybody has any questions, be happy to talk about it, but that's generally what we were able to come up with.
Thank you for that, Brian. This is very exciting for me.
Good. You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think we should look into when we want to hold the next election.
Yeah, what we could do also is we could submit that the document that you created there, Brian, and then since the next item on the agenda is to schedule a special meeting for next week, because we could circulate that, and then whether you or if you guys wanted, I think we should probably wait till we have all the commissioners, but then we could vote on when we would do this. Or you all could vote on when you do that.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. Yeah, thank you, Brian, for covering all that. I have just one question about the role of the tenant commissioner as far as income goes for that additional income. Will that affect anything for them?
No, it doesn't affect the thing.
Okay, good.
Because it's a stipend.
Right.
Yeah, okay, great. That was my one question.
Good question.
That was a great question.
But I think that's really exciting, and I think both the concepts of just having a clear written policy and procedure surrounding elections is just going to be great for us. But then all of these other items in terms of thinking about different ways people could vote, thinking about that stipend, it's very exciting to imagine this being a much more robust and process, and one that kind of incentivizes participation more. So I really appreciate you putting all this time, Brian, into researching this and putting it together.
Yeah, truly, to have like 3 places to drop it off and all that, it's like a very good process.
Yeah.
Robust.
Right.
So,
so then the last item before opening it up to the public or any other new business would be to schedule a special meeting. We do need to have a special meeting to review the ongoing investigation that we spoke about at the last meeting. And
To extend the lawyers.
We have a bunch of items actually that came up too late to get onto this agenda that are going to need to get voted on. And so we were hoping to schedule another meeting for next Monday.
Seems like it works better for everybody. We can either do 5 p.m. or 6 p.m.
Monday the 25th. Claire's looking like that might not work.
How about you, Anthony? Monday the 25th work for you?
Yep,
5 is better.
5?
Does 5 p.m. work, Anthony?
5 or 6, doesn't matter.
So we'll do 5 PM. Right, Rebecca, because that's what works best for you as well?
It's either one.
Okay, same here. All right,
Okay,
So
we'll
the-
schedule that Monday at 5. We'll send out an email with the Zoom link for that special meeting.
Mhm.
And then is there anything else from any of the board? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I
This is
wanted
your-
to share an idea that I had before I start looking into it. I know we're not positive about construction, but with springtime and summer right around the corner, I want to do some type of community day where we invite people to come take care of the playgrounds, maybe repaint them to give them somewhere at least more visually pleasing, while we're waiting to make decisions. I was thinking about reaching out to the youth center and seeing what manpower and supplies they could help us with. But I think, planting some flowers, painting, repairing a couple of the small things so kids have somewhere safe and fun to play this summer is a goal.
That sounds good.
Yeah, that does sound good.
We also have a proposal, a written proposal that we'll have at this special meeting for a mural project.
Okay.
That would, I think, also further that goal of yours, and I think that's a great idea. Yeah,
Mhm.
So I had.
Well, thank you, that was very good.
we also have the quick update that we're still working on, just so everyone knows, the tenant debt repayment offer that was made, and it's continuing to go back and forth with the lawyers, but it's getting whittled down to be a doable thing as quickly as possible. And I'm hoping that before I leave, we can make that official and have a resolution clarifying that. So that's hasn't been forgotten and is still, I think it's getting closer and closer to being finalized. So that's an exciting update that we'll have again soon.
Very.
Amazing. So, do we have any questions from any members of the public? Virtually or actually? Jeanette?
Yeah, you said that there were 5 apartments that needed abatement of asbestos. Are they in Bliss Tower or Columbia Apartments? Or,
Everything that we're currently talking about is in Bliss.
okay.
It's just in the high rise.
Okay. And so there were 8 of the 12 units can do containment and 5 have needed full abatement, but 8 plus 5 is 13.
Oh, I think it's 7 plus 5. I
Okay.
apologize.
All right.
I was working subtracting off of 12. That was my poor math.
Thank you for
But great.
that, Jeanette. I needed
Yeah.
a good laugh.
Thank you.
Do we have any other questions from anyone? Anyone over Zoom?
Look for hands raised.
All right. Without any more questions and completing the agenda, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
Okay,
Second.
and seconded by Claire Cousins.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
Have
Have
a
a great
good night.
evening.